Hi, I'm Mark, and today on Outside Views, I want to talk about the evaded recession and what is really beneath the surface still. While the German economy has slipped into a kind of a downturn, the UK is doing much better than expected, and the recession was considered inevitable before. But what's behind the swing and why the prospects for the British are no cause for celebration? That's the topic of this video. Because it was taken for granted, a prolonged recession had been predicted for the British economy for the current years. Numerous structural problems, coupled with the consequences of the war in Ukraine and the energy price shock, were identified as triggers. And the Commons kept talking about the sick man of Europe again. But the United Kingdom is doing much better than expected. Unlike the German economy here, the British economy will be able to avoid shrinking economic output for 2 quarters in a row. That's what economists are now certain about. On Monday, the international consulting firm KPMG and the Industry Association Confederation of British Industry, the CBI, adjusted their forecasts. KPMG now expects growth of 0.3% and the CBI of 0.4% for 23 instead of shrinking as before. In the coming year, the upswing should gain momentum and exceed 1%. Investments could then pick up again as well. We've seen a bit more momentum in the UK economy. That was said by Yael Selfin, chief economist at KPMG UK. The more optimistic view is no exception now. In the past 2 weeks, the International Monetary Fund, the OECD, and the British Chamber of Commerce have also revised upwards their forecasts for the British economy. The tailwinds for both the UK and global economy have solidified since the start of the year. That was said by Alpesh Pillaya, economist at the CBI. Lower energy prices, the lifting of COVID restrictions in China, and easing supply difficulties have all contributed to increased resilience in domestic economic activity. The mood in companies has also improved significantly. BDO auditors' optimism index rose for the second month in a row to 99.75. That's the highest level since August. And towards the end of last summer, recession worries became increasingly acute. BDO pointed to sustained solid results in the service sectors, and the job market also continues to indicate healthy growth. The positive mood among companies is surprising given the persistently high inflation rate, though. In April, it was 8.7%, and core inflation, which excludes more volatile food and energy prices, had even picked up and not gone down. It's taken for granted that the Bank of England will feel compelled to make a few more rate hikes. And on average, analysts in the city expect 4 further increases in interest rates in the coming months, from the current 4.5% to 5.5%. And statements from the central bank point in a similar direction. We are closely monitoring the signs of inflation dynamics and their persistence. That was said by Jonathan Haskell, and he's a member of the central bank's Monetary Policy Committee. From his point of view, it is important to continue to counteract the dynamic of inflation, so further interest rate hikes cannot be ruled out. As difficult as the current state of affairs is, continued inflation would be even worse, he said. Despite the better prospects, there is no reason to celebrate, and economists warn about this. While the numbers are encouraging, there is no escaping that this year will be another difficult one for both businesses and also households. We must not forget them. And this hits the socially disadvantaged especially hard. The National Institute of Economic and Social Research, or NIESR, calculates that inflation and the high cost of living mean that the poorest households in the country will have around £4,000 less a year in real terms than in previous years. And KPMG chief economist Selfin also emphasizes that there are still considerable risks and primarily refers to persistent inflation. According to their forecast, the price increase for the year as a whole is 7.7%, and even in the coming year, the economist sees the value at 2.9% above the central bank's inflation target of 2%. The problem is that the structural problems persist. It is worrying that the UK is weak in many areas that are critical to long-term prosperity, such as investment and foreign trade activity. In the next few months, it will be a matter of urgency to make the economic environment more attractive, or it will go in a different direction. But at least the British labour market continues to show its robust side. In April, the unemployment rate fell by 0.1 percentage points to 3.8% compared to the previous month, as the Statistics Office ONS announced on Tuesday in London. Economists, on the other hand, had expected an average increase of 4%. However, a 3-month comparison up to April shows a slight increase in the rate. Employment continued to rise, reaching a record high in absolute terms, though. The employment rate rose by 0.2 percentage points to 76%. The number of vacancies fell again slightly, but is still very high at more than 1 million. Wages are still rising strongly, but minus high inflation, they are falling. With bonus payments, the wage level increased significantly by 7.2%. However, taking into account the inflation rate, wages fell by 1.3%. And despite some good news, the bad news in other areas are getting darker as well, because more than 600 migrants were spotted trying to cross the English Channel on Sunday. It is the highest number in 2023, according to the latest data from the Home Office on Monday. Around 616 people were discovered during the crossing in 12 small boats. The total number of migrants who have crossed the English Channel in 2023 so far is 8,380. The British Illegal Migration Act aims to stop these types of small boat crossings. The law provides that asylum applications can be revoked if refugees enter the UK by unauthorized means, such as crossing the English Channel by boat. The government has gone a step further by introducing legislation to ensure that people entering the UK illegally are detained and promptly deported to their country of origin or a safe third country. That's the UK's latest press release and what the Interior Ministry issued in January. On Sunday, the All-Party Joint Committee on Human Rights released a report on the illegal immigration law. In their research, they wrote evidence shows not only that the bill is not the right approach, but also that it would ultimately result in the UK playing its role in the global system of refugee protection, which is based on international cooperation and based on shared responsibility, and this role they cannot play anymore. Last week, the EU interior ministers reached what was described as a historic agreement on the asylum system, in which, among other things, countries of first arrival, such as Italy and Greece, should be relieved. But they still have to negotiate with the European Parliament, and so it will take quite a while until we really know what the EU will do. But one thing they will not do, send people to countries and never let them return. Except their home countries, but I mean something like Rwanda. But let's not get started with Rwanda again. It was just the current overview of things happening. And current overview of things happening is a good point. You all remember the banner up there that's running for a week now. The Outside Views Star Trek Fleet Command channel has started already. It's called Outside Views STFC. And it's really fun making videos for this, because I have quite an experience with that. And the content right now is just some small tips and tricks, some little advice, some crews, some armadas and stuff like that. So if you know STFC, you know what I'm talking about. And it takes a little bit longer to make those videos because they're a little bit more complex to make than just a talking head video. But it is fun, but it's a lot of work. And for the real fun topics, I still need all support from my viewers I can get. So if you ever see this banner up there, and if you want to contribute anything, every small contribution is welcome and helps me get further with the new channel and to bring some fun stuff to that channel. But nevertheless, if you just are interested in politics, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.